Okay, second game today. I wonder what horrible opponents I'll be playing on the auto pairing now. So, right, I wait with anticipation. Let's have a quick look at recent game history. So quite a few strings of wins recently, but before that I showed you that there was lots of minuses. So an FM Wolverine, an old customer, but he's a dangerous FM. Actually, let's play mainline-ish. See if I can get anything from the opening, doing a mainline. Maybe A4 and Bishop E2. I think Paganini might be influencing me here. Let's go for the D5 square, and he'll probably expect me to try and castle queenside anyway, so a change of plan. Clamp down on D5, and then I'll try this plan, so that we saw in the Paganini game, knight F1 to E3, to D5. Okay, so just clamping down on D5. Now let's see if we can neutralize the C file. So to do that, I think Queen. Why am I thinking Queen D2? You're wondering. It's a good question. I want to play Knight D1 actually, without allowing D5 ideally. So maybe A5 first, Knight D1, and then maybe C4, because otherwise D5 is going to happen. So Queen D2 still is eyeing D5. Okay, and also B3 stops any knight C4s. The knight's kind of good on E3 at the moment. Okay, let's put in Bishop B2 since he's attacking C3. So now A5, try and stop this D5 from black, and then carry on with this plan. Maybe knight D5 here, in fact, unless there's anything better. Knight D5 here. Bishop almost is trapped. It just goes to G4. So let's stop Bishop G4. So knight D5, knight takes ED. The bishop would be trapped. I'm going to lose horribly tactically. No, let's not think about losing horribly. So how can black lose horribly tactically? Maybe a disaster on H6. That's more optimistic thoughts than how my queen side is going to be dismantled. These are the imbalances anyway. Black's got obviously ferocious queenside counterplay usually, but doesn't appear to be here, because this knight's not bad. I don't usually have such a nice knight. Okay, let's go for this other plan, which I've seen in another Paganini game actually, where although I'm letting black seal up D5, I'll get the E4 square. So now if I can play C4 and then march on those light squares, in fact here Bishop E4 first to stop F5, but then G6. So okay, I'll play C4. Allow F5. Maybe this bishop is going to get better. Okay, G6 is sort of weakening the king side, so maybe it doesn't matter. I'll play Bishop B1 anyway. Or maybe even G4. If I play G4 here, I'll stop F5. A radical way of clamping down the counterplay, but I'm creating lots of weaknesses at the same time, potentially. But there seems to be some congestion at the moment. So maybe Queen D3, King G2, prepare the punches, as a sort of that champion we were looking at, Tarash. How can he can get away with G4 in a lot of cases, but here we need to clamp down on F5. So something like King H2, Rook G1, Rook G3, Rook G1. Just clamp down on F5 and seal up these weaknesses. I think that's the priority. But on the other hand, Queen H4, if King H2 is putting me off. Unless I allow that. No, but I think King G2 first, then Rook G1. Let him play Queen H4. At the moment, I mean, he used the tempo for Queen H4. If I can get the Rook G1 in now, then King H2, just to stop this F5, or is it too late? That's the question. Right, King H2 now. It's looking better for stopping that. In fact, okay, I'll play for doubling up rooks now, but on the other hand, I don't want to lose material on like this A5 pawn. So first maybe Bishop C3. Okay, and now again rook g1. Try and get a time advantage as well somehow. But where is the breakthrough for me on the king side? That's the question. Can I? Okay, I'll try and evict this queen, this pesky queen, first. Maybe f3, threatening g5 if he's not careful. But at the moment, you can win my queen. All right, just rook f3 here, saying goodbye to the queen. You know, please go away. Why is he harassing me with the queen? Okay. Now, what about b4 actually? As though I'm going to play on the queen side as well with c5. In fact, the rook on f3 is not that bad. Okay, let's hold up a bit more. Okay, he wants to try and weaken my queen side, I guess. Can I switch plans here for playing for c5? If I play rook g1, rook c1, c5, although I'm mixing plans, I don't want to allow queen h4 again, although f5 is looking tempting. Well, here, anyway, the rook is on h3, but he would be maybe threatening bishop takes g4 if I'm not careful. Why didn't I just play rook takes f4 there? I had rook takes f4, just winning a piece. Oh, how gutting. Ah. He's thinking about it. Is he just going to play f5 now? And I've lost my opportunity. Oh dear. Well, that's a bit sad. Oh, it's turned up again. Rook takes f4. I thought just f5 and that was it. Wow. I mean, there was a big pause there. I was wondering maybe he was considering f5 or queen h4, and then I just thought a quiet move, rook c7, because I'd missed it on the previous turn. Maybe he thought, you know, it wasn't a problem, this bishop f4, but you know, it is an invasion in my camp, having the rook on f4, and you know, I did have, you know, rook takes f4 as a forcing possibility, so it's something he should have been maybe watching out for, this rook takes f4. But well, especially if the longer the time limit. You know, it's easier to look at the forcing moves the longer the time limit. But anyway, this Pogonina plan has worked out very well for the clamping on d5. You know, the seemingly passive knight on b3 to d2 to f1. If you have a look back at the recent Pogonina versus Rest of the World game, I've just followed that sort of pattern. It seems successfully in this game. I guess I could still lose it from here, but I've just munched a piece. So with his queen still and pre to this pin. And he doesn't seem to be moving. Maybe he's going to just disconnect here. Oh no, he's resigned. He's resigned. So I'm reaching an inflated rating now, 2286 after this win. So let's have a look. So Pogonina plan of just going for d5, looking like passive pieces at the moment. But bishop f3, then rook e1 makes the way for knight d1, knight d2 to f1 to e3. It's like poetry, really. Strategic poetry with the pawn structure like this. This is like the science of chess. When you assess a weakness, it's like scientifically going for it, and at the same time surgically removing counterplay from the opponent. So removing the queen side counterplay, and then clamping down on the king side counterplay as well. But then also threatening, you know, as though I'm going to play c5, because he did sort of loosen the blockade on c5 a bit. So almost threatening as I'm going to go back to the queen side. And then I missed the chance for rook takes f4. But then he let me, you know, again, play rook takes f4. Okay, so comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks so much.